This movie.
Finish it.
Mortal Kombat 2 is almost absolutely awesome, especially if you watch it with the right expectations, which means not expecting an epic saga like Mortal Kombat 11 or a complex plot with a huge twist like Mortal Kombat 1. This one's more of a comedic action flick and it absolutely works. In a nutshell, the fights are great, the arenas resemble those from the games, and the story is simple and doesn't shift too far from the game's lore. The main treat, the fatalities, are absolutely badass. Now, this movie works regardless of whether you're a Mortal Kombat fan or have never even heard of it. The only thing that might take some getting used to, if you're new to Mortal Kombat universe, is the Elder Gods being almost as useless as the United Nations. Johnny Cage is awesome, Kano is even more awesome, and Cole Young doesn't stick around for too long. Oh, and you really don't need to watch the 2021 movie to get this one, cause the movie brings you right up to speed. To better understand the plot, there are a few key things to know. In the Mortal Kombat universe, there are different worlds called realms. The ones featured in this movie are Earth Realm, what we simply know as Earth, Outworld, Shao Kahn's home turf, Edenia, a lush and fertile world with near immortal inhabitants, and the Nether Realm, which is basically if hell were a real place. Every generation, competing realms send their best fighters into a single elimination martial arts tournament. Once a conquering realms champions win 10 consecutive tournaments, they earn the right to merge the losing realm into their own. How is it fair to make Earth Realmers fight Outworlders who live for thousands of years and should theoretically be way more experienced?
Don't know.
Just roll with it. I mean, the AI gave me some lame excuse, but it doesn't seem to be mentioned too much in the games. If someone starts merging realms without a tournament victory, like Shao Kahn tried to do in Mortal Kombat 9, the Elder Gods step in. Now, the plot is super simple, no crazy twists to worry about spoiling, so stick around and you'll get a much better understanding of what's going on. It starts off in Edenia. King Jared, Kitana's father, gives her a pendant gifted to him by Raiden, telling her he's always listening. I'm telling you right away, that wasn't in the games, but it pays off later. Right after that, Jared receives a fatality from Shao Kahn. I mean, he puts up a good fight, but it's Shao Kahn we're talking about. Since this was Outworld's 10th victory in a row, Edenia now belongs to Outworld. A solar eclipse triggers right after Shao Kahn announces the takeover, which looks absolutely badass and super menacing. You might ask, why didn't they let SINDEL handle it? I'll tell you why, cause she ain't shit in this movie. Unlike the games, where she soloed 10 Earthrealmers in MK9 and gave a good beating to an Elder God in MK11 Aftermath. But fret not, despite doing SINDEL dirty, some characters are even better here. She does show some spirit though, trying to kill Shao Kahn, but she gets overpowered by random NPCs. Why didn't she use her ultrasonic scream, which she clearly has in this movie too?
Don't know.
Shao Kahn adopts Kitana as his daughter for some reason, which will totally not backfire in the future. Fast forward a few years and Kitana is all grown up. Jade is assigned as her bodyguard and they have a tight sisterly bond. Jade is actually the one who gives Kitana her trademark bladed fence for the upcoming tournament with Earthrealm. We get a glimpse at one of Johnny Cage's movies, and it absolutely rocks. I definitely watch the whole thing. We then see Johnny sitting at an autograph signing with 0 people in line to see him, which is a straight up crime and proves people are lame. Right after that, Raiden and Sonya approach him, demonstrate some magic and take him straight to Raiden's Sky Temple. Once Cage finds out almost everyone here has magic and that Mortal Kombat is called Mortal Kombat for a reason, he decides to bail.
Fuck that.
But Sonya explains that he's already been chosen, so the Elder Gods will just force summon him anyway. Which got me thinking, wouldn't that trigger a situation like the one in The Boys?
You wanna watch me have a wank? It'll cost you a tenner.
Anyway, we cut to Quan Chi first resurrecting Kung-Lao to fight for Outworld as a revenant. Then he does us all a favor and resurrects Kano to figure out where he hid SHINNOK'S amulet, which Kano had stolen from Raiden's Sky Temple. In case you're wondering, Shinnok is a fallen elder god. Not like he walked, tripped on a banana peel and fell. No, it's like a fallen angel. He invaded Earthrealm, got stabbed by Raiden and the elder gods, and as a result got locked up in the Netherrealm. Back to Kano. Turns out the amulet was in his pocket the whole time. Yeah, these geniuses resurrected him without a prior search. I mean, maybe they don't understand the concept of pockets in Outworld, or maybe the script just needed Kano alive,
so that the rest of the plot can happen.
When asked why Kano isn't a revenant like the rest of them, Quan Chi says he wasn't worth the effort because he barely has a soul to corrupt. Yeah, that definitely won't backfire later. Mortal Kombat begins. Two of Earthrealm's fighters are summoned, Sonya and Cage, who gets teleported straight out of a bar. These elder gods are the embodiment of incompetence. What if Cage had already been shit-faced, pissing his or somebody else's pants? Would they summon him? What bugs me is that there are no spectators except for Shao Kahn, which is how most fights happen in this movie. It's not a deal breaker, considering the elder gods are the main audience and are always watching. But it's still weird that Shao Kahn wouldn't want his subjects watching tournaments won in his name. Kitana wins, but doesn't kill Cage. Despite the tournament's name, it's not mandatory to score a win, so it's all good. Then Sonya beats Sindel, who's a fucking joke here. Elliot Page would put up more of a fight. No wonder Jarrett was fighting for Edenia instead of her.
They send their queen to fight?
No. We send our best to fight.
Yeah, no, wrong Sindel. Sure, she uses her ultrasonic scream, but other than that, she fights like a Tekken green rank. She doesn't even use her prehensile hair. What's cool about this fight though, is that we actually get to see some solid grappling. Sonya wins and lands a badass arena fatality. Kitana teleports to Raiden's Sky Temple when nobody's looking. Turns out, she's acting as a spy for Raiden. What a shocker! She tells them about Shinnok's amulet and mentions that Jade's participating in the tournament, asking them to make sure she won't suffer if it comes to killing her. Kung-Lao comes to Sky Temple and slits Raiden's throat with his badass bladed head. Then Shang Tsung and Quan Chi teleport in and use the amulet to siphon Raiden's power. They head back to Shao Kahn and gift him regeneration and immortality. Despite giving Shao Kahn a massive unfair advantage, this doesn't violate the official rules of Mortal Kombat.
Shao Kahn has not violated the rules of Mortal Kombat.
It is the merger of realms that is proscribed.
The next stage of the tournament begins. Jax defeats Jade but keeps her alive, and Shao Kahn beats Cole Young and takes a few seconds to be a comedic genius and literally wipe the floor with him in the flesh pits. Both fights are very well choreographed and all the fighters get a chance to showcase their skills. Next up is LIU KANG vs Kung-Lao at the iconic portal stage. The arena even shifts from blue to red to mirror different versions of that classic map. LIU KANG vows to save Kung-Lao someday, then executes a fatality using Kung-Lao's own head. Yeah, you've definitely seen a kill like that in the raid. We are then shown that Raiden is still alive, cause he's a god.
Turns out he's a god.
We see the amulet being stored in some kind of locked pedestal. Why wouldn't Shao Kahn just carry it on him? Absence of pockets, motherfucker. Shao Kahn orders Quan Chi to give him his best warrior, so Quan Chi resurrects KAHN, the original Sub-Zero, turning him into Noob Saibot. Kitana teleports to Earthrealm and tells his protectors about the amulet, specifically that it needs to be destroyed to strip Shao Kahn of its buffs. They can't just teleport directly to the amulet to snatch it because of defensive wards, but there's a service entrance tunnel used by the TARKATAN'S. they teleport into the TARKATAN'S element, which is, of course, led by Baraka. Meanwhile, Kitana gets apprehended by Jade and some NPCs upon her return to Outworld. At Baraka's camp, Liu Kang tries to recruit him, since the TARKATAN'S are treated like garbage by Shao Kahn. But since the Earthrealmers don't have an army, Baraka isn't interested in joining these sorry bums. Then Johnny Cage calls him a pussy, so they start throwing hands. Despite Johnny previously claiming he let stuntmen do all his work, we can clearly see he was downplaying himself, as he busts out the exact moves from Uncaged Fury. Also, who knew Baraka was this strong? Anyway, after some solid back and forth, Cage wins with his trademark nut punch. Baraka absolutely loves it, calling it the greatest fighting he's ever seen, and addresses him as Johnny fucking Cage, because that's how Johnny introduced himself. Baraka asks Cage to teach him that style, and Cage agrees, on the condition that Baraka shows them the service entrance tunnel first. Kitana is brought to Shao Kahn. There we see SINDEL, resurrected by Quan Chi as a revenant, just like before, which explains why she looks all grey and washed out. Kitana confesses that she was in Earthrealm, as Shao Kahn orders his guards to chain her up in the town square to serve as a warning to everyone. Meanwhile, the rest of Earthrealm's champions infiltrate Shao Kahn's throne room to retrieve SHINNOK'S amulet, splitting up to cover more ground. But Shao Kahn is already waiting for him, cause, you know, his daughter is a traitor, so it wasn't exactly hard to figure out she'd leak the amulet's location. Liu Kang is the first to face him, throwing down some crazy firebending Azula would be jealous of, and conjuring full-on fire dragons. But Shao Kahn's cheat codes are just too strong. He burns a bit, then regenerates like within 2 seconds. The rest of the team gets there and almost succeeds in snatching the amulet, but Shao Kahn summons Noob Saibot, who grabs it and teleports straight to the Netherrealm. Shao Kahn kills Jax, and then he, Sonya and Liu Kang get summoned away to the tournament. Kano arrives with a few NPCs and weighs them, officially aligning himself with Earthrealm. What bugs me though is that Kano now shoots lasers straight out of his bare eye. I know they showed this in the 2021 movie, but the iconic metal eye plate was way more unique and looked absolutely badass. Plus, he's not a Kryptonian and he didn't take a dose of Compound V, or maybe he did, since we have Billy Butcher here. Anyway, he's like, I wanna hang out with the good guys now. Back at the town square, Jade visits the chained up Kitana. Kitana tells Jade that she's better than them, and it totally works. Yeah, Jade's motivations are as strong as the Rock. Since Kano is easily the coolest character, he's the one who comes up with the plan. Get to the Netherrealm, smash SHINNOK'S amulet, strip Shao Kahn of his cheat codes, and give Raiden his powers back, so Earthrealm gets a chance to stay the place we all know and love. Raiden warns them that he might not have enough juice to pull them back if they fail, which makes this whole mission way more heroic. He adds that they're gonna need a guide in the Netherrealm, so he sends them to Scorpion's Fire Garden. And yeah, it's not the Shirai Ryu Fire Garden, but exactly Scorpion's Fire Garden. An illusion if I got it right. Either way, the second Kano mentions that KAHN is alive, Scorpion is instantly all in. Jade walks into the throne room, where Shang Tsung is casually testing if his fat ass fits in Shao Kahn's throne. She tells him to send her to the Netherrealm to help protect the amulet, suggesting that he go finish off Raiden, while he is completely unprotected. Meanwhile, in the Netherrealm, Cage, Kano and Scorpion start fighting Noob Saibot. Cage actually manages to grab the amulet, but none of them have any clue how to destroy it. At the same time, Liu Kang and Sonya are taking on Shao Kahn in a 2-on-1 fight, which isn't new for the franchise, considering we've seen it in MK9 a few times. Shao Kahn absolutely wrecks them, impaling Liu Kang on the spike of his warhammer. Liu Kang says that he's not the chosen one, gets covered in flames and flies away. Sonya frees Kitana, gets hit with Shao Kahn's hammer, and flies away in a hilariously funny manner. Kitana officially renounces her Outworld citizenship, meaning Earthrealm still has one final champion standing, so they start fighting. Kitana fights like her father, Jared, using the 1000 cuts tactic, but it's Shao Kahn we're talking about, so he almost beats her. Meanwhile, Jade joins the crew in the Netherrealm, and they all gang up on Noob Saibot. Johnny Cage finally manages to channel his iconic green magic, giving him the power to shatter SHINNOK'S amulet once and for all. This happens literally a second before Shang Tsung can murder Raiden. So instead of getting a kill, Shang Tsung just gets his ass beat by Thunder God. Stripped of his cheat codes, Shao Kahn instantly loses his regeneration, and we can see that this Kitana is even more badass than the one in the games, cause she actually listens when the announcer says
Finish him!
Now look at that badass fatality. Now she's the
Boss in this gym.
The movie ends with
Johnny fucking Cage
hanging out by a bonfire with Baraka and some young Tarkatans, telling them semi-fabricated stories with a touch of epicness. They are joined by Sonya, Raiden, Jade and Kitana, who reveal their plan to resurrect the fallen champions, which is actually totally lore accurate, given how Scorpion, Jax and Sub-Zero get cleansed of their Netherrealm corruption in Mortal Kombat 10. A moment later, Kano teleports in with a tied-up Quan Chi. Baraka decides to join their squad, locking hands with Cage to recreate that iconic badass handshake from Predator. The whole crew gets together and struts toward the camera, as Raiden summons a massive lightning strike to create a teleport. Oh yeah, those main animated credits are pretty damn cool. All in all, a badass movie that I highly recommend checking out. There's plenty of strong language, but it's used logically by the characters you'd expect: Cage, Kano, Sonya, Jax, and of course Baraka when he drops
Johnny fucking Cage.
None of the other Outworlders swear, because their culture is completely different, which actually keeps everyone, well, in character. I realize there are things you could pick at, whether it's a few weird moments in the fights or clunky CGI, some minor plot contrivances, but I honestly felt no desire to nitpick. After all, the main question you have to ask yourself is, what do you actually want from a movie? And Zurab here will tell you.
I want to be fucking entertained!
Thanks, bro. And that's exactly what this movie does. It fucking entertains you. Big time. Sadly, the movie flopped at the box office, and its IMDb rating could definitely be better. But you can actually help change that by going to IMDb and leaving a vote. It's super easy, and this movie is absolutely fucking awesome, and totally deserves a better score. Rotten Tomatoes seems to be a lot more lenient though, which gives us some hope that the third movie might actually happen. If you're looking for some great Mortal Kombat stories outside of the games, there are 3 really cool animated movies you should check out: Mortal Kombat Legends, Scorpion's Revenge, and Mortal Kombat Legends Battle of the Realms. These two go hand in hand, as Battle of the Realms is a direct sequel. The third one is Mortal Kombat Legends Snowblind, which tells us a super interesting story where Kano is the main villain and has declared himself king of a desolate Earthrealm. There's also Mortal Kombat Legends Cage Match, but honestly, I didn't even feel like finishing it. It's not terrible, but it's just way weaker than the rest of the lineup. That's all, folks.